Hey guys, Furum here, and today I will not be testing the McLaren 570S in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. Afiq has given me some races in his 6-star 570S, so we can really see how this car does with its full potential. This brings us to a rank of 3902, and we're going to jump straight into our very first race, which is on San Francisco, against a couple Sinar 1s, as well as a Dodge Viper GTS. Now, the main thing about the 570S that makes it a special car is its very high top speed. I believe it has the highest top speed in all of Class A. When maxed, this car can go around 242 miles per hour, which is faster than the VLF's 239 and the B-Class Apollo N's 241. So definitely, if you like the top speed-oriented cars, this is the one you should go for in Class A. This car's handling is quite good, and at max, its nitro efficiency is decent. However, its acceleration is not that great, and so I suppose that is probably the worst thing about this car. But overall, I'd say it's pretty well-rounded. I have it at 2 stars, and while it's obviously not as good as it is at 6 stars here, it's relatively easy to drive compared to some cars. Of course, not as much as, like, the Huayra, for example, but it's not bad, and I do think that it's definitely one of the top A-Class cars. I know I put it at the very top of A-Class in my best and worst cars in each class list. We'll have to do some tests and see if it really does hold that spot. So here, Afiq has come in first, quite far ahead of those Sinar 1s and the Dodge Viper. Now, also, you have to remember we are quite higher ranked than those cars. We also have to remember not many people are going to have the 570S at this high of a rank. It would take many thousands of tokens in order to get here. It took me 4,500 tokens just to 2-star it, and that's with a jackpot. So let's see how this more top speed oriented car does on a track like the Caribbean, which is very more focused toward good handling cars. Now you do have to remember, this car has good handling, and it has pretty good nitro efficiency. So I really don't think this track is going to be too much of a problem for it. As you can see here, we've already gotten ahead of the Sin R1s, for example, and the Sin R1 is a car that pretty much everybody has grown to hate, simply because it's just awful to drive. Even at higher stars, it is not enjoyable at all. Now, even though the 570S has a good handling stat, its drifting radius is surprisingly, well, not good, actually. It's very weird. Now, remember, the handling stat has more to do with speed loss when drifting than how good the drifting is, but I just wanted to point that out. It's definitely not as fluid as the Huayra is. I would definitely recommend trying to unlock this car, because it's one of the best cars in Class A. It unlocks a season once you unlock it, and you can get a lot of blueprints for it in the Unleashed event if you have some of the cars there above 3100 rank. So here we've come in first, beating, well, 3 Sin R1s. For some reason, they are extremely popular this season, which is very surprising, because in no other season have they been this popular. I think what is happening is that people are getting enough trade coins to star the Sin R1 up to 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 stars, and then they find that it is really quite a bit better than it was at lower stars, and thus they're beginning to use it and finding they like its higher top speed and maybe they can deal with its bad acceleration. That's just my theory, but it probably has something to do with it. However, this 570S is definitely a better car overall. A lot of you may have noticed over the weekend that there were some glitches and weird stuff happening with the leaderboard, where it would show people with higher positions than they actually had. Now, Gameloft never told us exactly what had happened with that, and I don't really think anybody ever truly figured it out. Some people said it was region-based, but I really don't think that. Anyway, it was finally fixed. Gameloft said that it was a client-side visual error, and that everything was reported properly onto the server, and that all you had to do to get your position to be correct was just to play a race, and it would update to be normal. So in case anybody was wondering about that, well, there you go. So we finished this race in first, beating what turned out to be another 570S. We did see a few of these throughout these races, however, they weren't as common as the Sin R1s, probably because, well, people have to spend quite a few thousand tokens minimum to unlock it, I would say. In this race, we're facing a 5-star Sin R1, so he's at around 3850 rank, pretty close to our 3900. So a lot of people have been asking me for a while now, when am I going to make that Sharon versus Regera video? Well, I have actually begun working on it now. I've gotten some good races with the cars and some of the tracks, including including this specific one right here. Now, this isn't the San Francisco track I would have picked, because in that video I planned to do one versus on one variant of each track in the game, but for some reason, none of the other 90-degree tracks for San Francisco, none of those other 3 ones were in any of the S-Class career seasons. So I had to choose this one, which was not ideal, but yeah, that's the story behind that. I would say it is better to go up this barrel and to the right if you're in an A-Class car or below. But if you're in a high top speed S-Class car, such as the Chiron or Regera or Tryon or Fenner, or, you know, those top S-Class cars, it would probably be better to go to the left and do wall riding with Shockwave, because that allows you to keep a much higher speed than you would going to the right, which in turn allows you to go faster that way than you would if you'd gone to the right, like is better in slower cars. So here we do come in first. We beat that 5-star Sin R1. Now, in this next race, we're facing 3 more Sin R1s. Did I tell you it was a popular card this Unleashed season? Now, this is actually the Himalayas variant that I picked for the Regera vs. Chiron video that was uploaded to the Asphalt channel a while back. Then, both cars were at stock. Now, I'm going to be able to test them both at 4 stars, but I probably am not going to use this track again. Rather, I'm probably going to use Mountain Poles, the one that's going the opposite direction of this track, but it basically follows along the same route. I just don't want to use the exact same variant again, or else somebody might think that I just reused that footage or something. But both that variant and this variant of Himalayas are good for the 570S because of its faster speed. Even though it's not crazy much faster than other A and B class cars, once you get ahead, you don't really have to worry a lot about them catching up, which is a nice bonus. So the 570S was first released into Asphalt 9 during the Bugatti Chiron special event, but not many people managed to get it because they were spending their tokens on the king of the game. At that point, there, yes, were packs for the special event car. They decided to stop doing that, I think to get people to buy packs for the secondary cars, because, well, Gameloft saw that people were not buying many packs for the 570S and for the Alfieri. So speaking of the Alfieri, I really do hope that comes back as well. While it's no C-Class King, it's pretty fast, and I kind of want to drive it because, well, I didn't get that one either. Although I have heard it is a bit of a boat, even at higher stars from the few people that have actually managed to get it. So here we beat those 3 Sin R1s. Now for what is actually a very close race between Afiq and Unkindly Track 31, who I uploaded a video about recently on my channel. He did a run in the Dodge Viper Car Riot Hunt or whatever it's called, so definitely check that out if you want to see a truly alien run. But this multiplayer race is like the duel of the century, because Afiq and Unkindly Track 31 are 2 of the best Asphalt 9 players in my opinion, and we will have to see what happens when they face each other. Unkindly is also in a 570S, he's in a yellow one at around 3750 rank, I believe it was, and wow, Afiq nearly wrecked right there, so you can see they're pretty much right on each other's tails all throughout this bit of the race. And there weren't actually any 2-lap races in here. I don't know if the setting is on that it's even possible to have 2-lap races in this season, but if you click the question mark next to the name of a season, in any season, the classic one or the special ones, whatever they're called, you can see the different rules that they have on and off for the season. For example, you can see whether they have slipstream on, you can see whether the variable starts are on, like the random grid at the beginning, you can see whether knockdowns are turned off for the first 10 seconds. You can just see a whole bunch of stuff. Now something extremely weird happened here. Afiq crossed the finish line well ahead of Unkindly, yet Unkindly got the first place position. This happened to Rulu in my Aventador J video, and I have absolutely no idea what is going on. So now for the final race in the video, which happens to be on the same track as the previous one, against another Pro Team member, also in a 570S. Pretty close to the same rank as Afiq is at, slightly lower, maybe 3890 or something like that. So now it's time for my general review of this car. I would say, yes, it is worth it to go for if you have a few thousand tokens that you want to spend on it. It is the fastest A-Class car in the game, definitely one of the best, probably in the top 3, I would say. Good handling, average nitro efficiency, not so great drifting, not so great acceleration, but very good top speed. And so overall, it's just a good car to drive, seems pretty stable, and definitely not one that you will regret picking up if you do manage to get it, especially if you manage to star it up a bit. I'm going to maybe try to 3-star it, not entirely sure about that. I still need 6 more blueprints left to do that, and probably it's going to take 1500 tokens instead of just 750, because what this game likes to do is it likes to troll me. It gives me maybe 6 per time on my way to unlocking a card, not that great, and then when it gets to the point where I need 6 left to unlock it, it then gives me 3, and then I only need 3 more, and then it gives me a jackpot, which is pretty much what happened for me getting this card at 2 stars. So thank you all for watching, and big thank you to Afiq for these races. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 9 and Forza Horizon 4 content, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!